Hi, everybody. Welcome back to True Crime Unsolved. I'm Miles Reef. I'm here as always with my buddy Sean Cahill. This is the place where we tackle the stories that the TV networks won't touch. Unsolved homicides, missing persons cases, stories without an ending. Sean, what are we getting into today?
Hey Miles, how are you? So today we're getting into something that we really like to do on this channel, which is an update with a family for a case that we've already covered. We're going to be talking to Liam Toman's family, all of them on one call. His mom, Kathleen, his father, Chris, and his stepmom, Laura. So without spoiling too much of the update, there's been some motion on that case. New things are happening, and they recently just came back from a whole search of the area where Liam was missing with a lot of people. I think that an amazing amount of people showed up to volunteer for this search, which is really great. So we spoke to them and decided it would be really great to share all this news and kind of go through what's happening on that case, what new things have developed since we did our interviews with them, and then bring it to you guys because I think our viewers care a lot about Liam Toman. I know Miles and I do. And yeah, that's what we're up to today. Anything else you wanted to add to that?
No, I think if you're interested in Liam's case and you're have an interest in it getting solved, you should watch this video.
Yeah, we definitely learned a few things. There's interesting stuff going on. So without further ado, let's go meet Liam Toman's mother, stepmother,
You
and father.
froze up, so
Oh shit. Take it again.
just for safety, just start it over.
Yeah. Right. So without further ado, why don't we go straight into it? This is Kathleen, Chris, and Laura Toman.
Hi guys, it's great to see all of you again. Thank you for jumping on with us. Where should we start? I know that you guys just had an event, right? Should we sort of talk about that?
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And good to see you guys.
Good to see you
Nice.
too.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah,
you
good
for
to
Yeah.
see
having us.
all of
Thank
you.
you. Thank you for having us again. We so
Cool.
appreciate your time.
Thank you for reaching out. You know, we always talked about if anything happened that you guys wanted to come back and share with us that the door was open. So we're really honored and happy to have you back, and very excited, as I know our viewers are going to be, to hear what's going on with the family and with the search and with the developments in the investigation. So I guess why don't we follow your lead? I know you just had an event. Maybe we can start there and get into the rest.
Kathleen, do you want to jump in and talk about what went on the May 15th to the 17th? And we'll jump in after you.
Sure. Thanks, Laura. So we had a spring search for Liam Toman, our son, and it was held in the Tremblant ski resort area. It was a massive search, and it was managed by Sarcan Canine, who's a group in Quebec. And we've worked with them before, November last year, a couple of times. They've done some work with us in searching. So we're familiar with them. And this time they organized also all of the volunteers and sent out a request to volunteers, completely overwhelmed with such a large response. 110 volunteers came. We had to actually find another venue to meet with such a large response. Then we had that organized with a few of their canine dogs, and we're going to go into more detail about, how that search went and what the focus was. At the same time, we introduced our Circle of Strength. This is the new blue wristband that we sent out because we were working with the white wristband for all of last year. Yes, I have a few on. This This is a circle of strength. It's the circle of our community, our family and friends that have supported Liam, supported our family, and helped us moving forward during this situation to find Liam. Gives us the strength to move forward every day and to to keep going, and to keep going for Liam, but and for other families to keep going and find Liam and find the answers. Um, it's a surreal situation. It's undescribable, but we know together we're going to find Liam and bring Liam home.
Yeah, it was very um Overwhelming emotionally, to see the outpouring of the support we had on Saturday and Sunday. Um, People can click on a like on a post, but it shows full commitment and support when you're showing up. 110 people, like Kathleen said, and taking time out of their schedule to help us look for our son. So.
And we also had our family and friends were the ones that gave out the wristband because they're the ones that know Liam the best. And they gave out 2,000 of them. So see, there's the tears.
Wow, that is an amazing amount of support, you guys.
Yeah.
That's really great to hear.
Yeah, it's great. And in SARCAN, Search and Rescue Canada K9, we focused in certain areas that, working with the SQ on areas of focus, revisiting areas, and the volunteers were really impressed with the thoroughness. When we went out to search, we couldn't search, and we did our own family searches. But as far as the formal search, they are professionals. They have GPS, and similar to the SQ. But it takes them on a team of 10 to 12, 3 hours to cover 1 kilometer. And so that was something that, a lot of people came back and said, it's not just a casual, you're looking at everything, and throughout the search, I was called out in the field a few times, found some bones, and we had to check with the coroner, are they animal bones? Found some jackets, some other materials that we felt that we had a data sheet on Liam. So for the searchers can see, some of the things that he was wearing that night that he went disappeared. So kudos to SARCAN and for the teams and the volunteers, just take the time out of their weekend to show their support for us. It was great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I can
That's
only
incredible.
imagine, Chris, just the emotional ups and downs of that for you guys, as these things are discovered and, having to go through that. I'd imagine there's a lot of mixed emotions around that.
Yeah, like Kathleen said, it takes a lot to decompress.
Yeah.
And some of our friends, they've been there, but they haven't physically been there sometimes because, really there's some things that we were in meetings or we're meeting with the investigative team, but they realize just how emotional toll it is, right? Just to be that. And it is surreal, you kind of like, why are these people here and why are they doing it? And it's for our son. So
That's got to be, a really mind-blowing mental place to be, to see all that and understand that. I did want to ask, I don't know if you're at liberty to discuss, because I know there's been a lot of searches. Is there anything different about this one as far as location or what the target of the searches were as opposed to previous ones? Or
I think what we have learned is that we've been able to rule out certain zones and areas. Now they've been covered not just so thoroughly this weekend, but in the past searches. But what was important, especially for some of the volunteers, oh, we didn't find anything. But again, it's not always about finding, it's about eliminating areas. Eliminating even those bones, they find one bone, some of the groups, I'm sure that, it's very overwhelming. You were out in the field and, you don't know whose it is it animal, is it not? Yeah. And again, ruling out these zones is important because it allows us to focus further, if, for the next search, to think further, we always say, look deeper. But that is the key thing, from this weekend is being able to truly say, we've covered these areas and send that to the police that we work with and say, these zones are completely done. So now what's the next step? What's the next area?
Yeah. And SARCAN, we have over 200 leads. It's still an active investigation. We meet with them regularly. So there is leads still coming in and a lot of people are like, well, how come he can't locate his phone? One of the searches is to try and acquire his phone, either physically or see the digital signature. And so we've added resources within the team to try and find his phone. And there's different ways of doing that, digital forensics, and we're all getting educated on that. But it's a third party that we've engaged. And part of the searches is, you can see the phone and people, it's well recorded. It was the last ping was outside his hotel. at 3:17, and then we found his phone was still active to 6:24 p.m. the next day, 15 hours, and we all, got educated on degradation of the phone battery, so it had to be somewhere warm or plugged in. So these digital records and things, they've expanded. I would just say that. So in certain areas of focus that we have leads or areas that we want to highlight, those are the areas that we started looking and searching with the dogs or with the teams themselves, and we'll continue. We're waiting back on a couple of reports on that, on some of the technical findings from the cell phone and from the other what's called advertising digital intelligence ADI. So your phone, even when it's not calling out to a tower, you can see some activity crossing across from Wi-Fi or apps or certain metadata. And it's just a matter of identifying Liam's digital signature, which we have, and then looking at where that area is and how do we isolate it, and perhaps other phone digital signatures in the same area or same proximity. So
Can I ask, because the thing about Liam's disappearance is that it's not that long ago, right? So we're not talking about some advancement in technology. So is this just sort of like extra resources that you didn't have access to before, or that the police perhaps didn't have access to, and you've brought in private parties to help with this?
that's a good question, Miles. It's both, really.
It's both.
I mean,
Complementing.
one of the things that's it's technology. It's not emerging technology. It has been, but we've been it's not it doesn't happen in an hour, and we've been, when we talk the CSI and things of that nature, and I think some of the areas on technology, it could be somewhat antiquated, and certain people have more access and certain databases or authority within certain areas to gain more information. So it's a complement and augment of all the resources, but we've engaged some technical experts in that area. So
That's fantastic. So it almost seems like there's a whole new realm of potential evidence there waiting to be possibly uncovered here. And again, I mean, just reading through our comments, I mean, it's interesting to see the phone just comes up over and over again. It seems to be one of the central cruxes of this mystery is where was it? Why was it still on so late in the day, the following day? And in today's world, we're also used to everything being figured out by the phone. Every crime is solved by the phone, and we do everything through it. It tracks us everywhere we go. And so, yeah, the fact that that's still forthcoming here, I think, yeah, like we talked about, just reading through the comments, everybody wants to know. But it's good to hear. I mean, because I guess what I'm driving at is it's good to hear that that's not quite a dead end. There's more to
that's
be,
right.
Yeah.
uncovered there. That's really good to hear.
Yeah, there's a lot of data. We just need to compile and synthesize that into information, right? And then we
Right.
can start focusing more. And we have some of that already that we're working through. But yeah, it's hopefully this trajectory continues. So
That's fantastic.
Amazing.
So, as far as the investigators themselves, there, I mean, I'm assuming you guys have probably been meeting with them and talking with them. Is there any news that you can share along those lines, or is everything kind of still, quietly behind the curtain of the investigation as far as what's going on in that department?
Okay, so yes, we are still in communication with the SQ, the Quebec police, and we are moving forward and working collaboratively with the teams that we've hired with the forensics of the phone. So it's a process to go through working together. And so we're just very hopeful that there's information that comes out from that to give us more direction and answers on how to tie that into the searching, like what we're working with the Sarcan teams and the other investigative teams. So it is a large group of people to collaborate together to help lead us towards answers. Our past searches were like expanded from the original police searches, going along the roadways and the exits from this. It's a vast mountainous forest area. So now we're sort of focusing in more on areas that are uh, uh, deemed from forensic information from the phone. So we feel like we're narrowing in a little bit more, if that makes sense.
It does, and I don't know how much you can talk about this, but are those areas that they're focusing more on now based on the data that you're getting from the phone? Are they wildlife areas, or are they more like places where people live? Like,
It's mixed. It's mixed.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
got it.
Interesting.
These are all small village type towns mixed in with it's a very mountainous area and a lot of forest. So it's very mixed.
Got it.
Yeah, and there's lots of
Interesting.
small bodies of water, larger bodies of waters. And like Kathleen said, we're working with the SQ, and my other comment is not saying that we're complimenting. They have brought in technical expert from Montreal on the team, and what we're combining what we're doing with our resources and sharing that information, sharing drone coverage and things of that nature. But yeah, we're very much engaged with the SQ.
And it seems like you guys are pretty happy with their attention to the case and the work that they're doing. It doesn't seem like they're not applying enough pressure on it, right?
We won't be happy until Liam's found.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's kind of it's a hard question to answer. I mean, when we started this, we had a lead detective, and she was moving on to major crimes in June. And at the time, we're like, well, this will all be done by then. We'll find Liam and everything else. And here we are, right? And so,
Right.
the relationship and things of that nature is fine, but we want outcomes, right? We want results, and that's where we continue, and we're going to continue. But it does take a toll on the family. It takes a toll on us. It isn't sustainable, and so we have to pick our times and be focused on when our searches and when we have information, right? So but yeah, I mean, it's a tough one to answer, but we're happy with the SQ, I guess, is the short answer.
Yeah, and I think this the weekend, the May 15th to 17th, there was a lot of media coverage once again. And I think that when that happens, it's not like a pressure, but it brings it to the forefront. And so I know that the detective we work with, he came to meet us on his day off. So, and he did follow up. And I know it was a comment in one of my videos about how hard is it to do regular communication, whether there's an answer or not. And I find it interesting that just in the last little bit, we are seeing that just, how did the search go? Can you share results? Or, so that's positive, as well. And, when it comes in the media too, then it increases because the reward was renewed. It expired May 20th. So the $50,000 reward was renewed. And so that was, almost like not a lead story, but that was part of like, you're here, you're back. There's so many volunteers, but the reward, and they followed Chris and Kathleen, some of the news stories. So there was probably, I lost track, but 5 or 6 outlets that were there following the dogs, following the search. It was quite comprehensive. So it brings Liam's story back to the forefront, and that might increase calls again as well. And so that's good with the, working with the police as well, because they do follow up on those pieces. And the last time we saw them, they kind of shared like, this is a call that came in, this is how we followed up, and we haven't always heard that. So that was reassuring for us. Sometimes you just need that little bit of, this is the call that came in, we had to do this, this, and this, but we've ruled it out. Oh, you asked us to re-interview this person. We did. So we weren't getting that, but I felt after that meeting, just that little bit of extra really helps us as a family to know that they are still working hard to find Liam.
Yeah, and it's not lost on us, because, and I've said this before, Liam's not the only person. Like when we start joining groups, and groups are joining us, we find out whereabouts unknown, and there's over, I think it's 500 within the Quebec area. As much as this is our priority, and I respect that it is a priority for SQ, there's we would love to hear an update every day, right? Just to say, but we do have to rationalize and kind of temper our expectations, right? So.
Well, right on. I think that's a well answered, and I'm glad to hear that the things are going well in that department, especially that the media is back on it when you guys come back into town, and that attention gets kind of raised again. I think that's great to hear. I did want to ask, kind of along the lines of things that have changed or progressed. I know one of the earlier issues that was sort of uncovered with this whole resort area was the lack of lighting and security cameras, and just sort of the difficulty that you guys ran into there as far as figuring out where Liam was. After a certain point, there just wasn't cameras, there wasn't lights. Has anything changed on your return trips, especially this most recent one? Have they updated any of that?
Yeah, there's been a significant change and action. We've been working closely with the Tremblant Resort Association and Station Tremblant. They've always worked with the SQ, the Quebec Police, from the onset. Our relationship has grown, and we, as I said last time, we meet with them regularly since I think it was November, Chris. And we
Yes.
had a meeting in May, and they walked us through upgrades that have been done. And this means camera systems upgraded, set in places that were blind spots and locations. And we are very pleased to see this. This is a system that's, you know, better rated, and this is for the whole community. This is for people that work there, people that visit there. uh, this is, something we've been advocating for, through to the municipality, to all the different associations, for everybody that goes to Tremblant, because we've learned this through working with the SQ, some of the issues. So we are very pleased to see these action items for everybody, and it's because of working together with all these different groups. So we've just actually made a post about that, how grateful we are for this to be actioned.
Yeah, it was good. On the Monday, we said, we've said at the start, if there's any positive coming out of Liam's disappearance, is, we hope no other family has to go through it. And it may have not changed the outcome, but we know that, we watched as many others, Liam's, potential last steps. And if there was other cameras or working cameras, or cameras with storage and things of that nature, the SQ would have had a better chance of locating, his last whereabouts, and possibly things that, what happened. So yeah, it's been tremendous lighting, quite a comprehensive change within the village.
And it is phase one of a larger security audit that they're doing. So, I think we were very, we use that word overwhelmed, but I was like, wow. Like I actually was like, wow, looking at where they put all the cameras, but then to learn that this is phase one and there's more coming, and that, they are working together. So that's it's very positive.
Yeah.
And
That's great to hear.
yeah.
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 Yeah, it's excellent. It's so excellent. I mean, we're also working
Yeah.
with we worked with had a weekend with Sun Youth, with their teams. They hold the reward, and talking about safety. It was a youth basketball tournament, and safety with young men, teenagers, and just reiterating, going in pairs, and keeping your parents aware on, Find My Phone and locations, and all these type of things. Just, keeping the youth community aware of, personal safety. Very much
That's
advocated.
fantastic. Yeah, and it really is the other side of it too. I mean, there's the part where it's cameras and security and whatever, the resort can do. But then also, I think it's wonderful that there's awareness being raised in that direction too, right? Not taking for granted that we're all safe all the time and we all feel young and invincible. But don't leave your friends, let people know where you are, share your location with your family. These are things that not all of us do. And this is the kind of thing that is a really shocking and tragic
Yeah,
reminder that
yeah.
that's really
Have fun,
important.
have your adventures, do your adventures. But in this day and age, you've got to keep aware always. Always, and it's something we need to keep the conversation going. Always keep the conversation going.
Yeah,
It's a
because you think it
crucial
wouldn't
part of it.
happen. It only happens in movies, and we're living it, and we
Right.
wouldn't want anybody to live what we're going through, right? So I mean,
Right.
so
Exactly. Exactly. Well, the other thing I wanted to ask you guys about is we are aware that there's a GoFundMe, and I wondered if you wanted to talk about that a little bit because obviously everything costs money in this world. Unfortunately, that's the reality that we live in, and searches and trips and travels and everything um, is expensive. And so there is a GoFundMe, right? Can you tell us a little bit about that and where it is and what it serves?
Yeah, so there is a GoFundMe that has been created, and it's twofold. We do have a lot of people that approach us or email or direct message and say, I
What can we
want
do?
to, what
Yeah.
can we do? I
Yeah.
can't be there to search. And even people when we're giving out wristband tried to give money, but we're always so cognizant about taking that. And so we created the GoFundMe as a way. We are going to be mailing out wristbands to people that request them. And if they ask, it's like you can make a donation. But collectively, within the first 15 months, it's been about 15 or 16 times to Mont-Tremblant, plus trips to Montreal in addition, for different pop-ups. And it does have a financial burden, plus these new resources that we have discussed are expensive. So we started a GoFundMe. We are very quiet. I don't know what the word is we want to say, and you can edit that how you want. But the GoFundMe, it's called Help Find Liam Gabriel Toman. It is in French and English, and it's there. And if someone is interested, especially near and far that are following the story, $5, $1,
Yeah, any
any
contribution. Yeah,
contribution,
I mean,
you become part of our circle of strength. Is how we're sort of, and it helps us to really go forward with some of these urgent resources that are coming to light for us that will help us further find and bring Liam home. We do have a great website if anyone wants to find out more information about Liam's story and who he is and all of the initiatives that we're doing. We try and keep it up to date with photos when we've been there,
Yeah.
stories of our volunteers. It's a great resource. So we encourage people to take a look there.
LiamToman.com.
LiamToman.com. He's reading my mind.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And we'll put all the links as usual in the description. So if anybody wants to go click right now, scroll down and do so. We'll have it all there for you.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah.
I don't want to. I'm a bit of a superstitious person, so I don't I don't want to put anything out in the air, but it feels like you guys have like you've always had pretty positive attitude considering everything every time we've spoken to you, but it does seem like there's some air in your step right now, and some wind in the sails, so to speak. And I'm wondering if there is a renewed hope, or not. I hope might be the wrong word, but if there's a renewed feeling that there's going to be some answers sometime soon.
Yeah, I think I think the search, as much as it takes us a toll out of us, it re-energizes us also to in our hope and beliefs that we will get some answers and we will help bring Liam home, right? So we continue, and like I said before, we will continue, and now we've got an extended team and some new resources and new methodologies that we're using. So we would like somebody, we always say somebody knows something, right? So it's a great community. We applaud the community, but there's a bit of code of silence in certain areas, I think, and I think there's only probably a handful that knows what exactly happened to Liam. So we were hoping that they would see some conscious in the heart of themselves and come forward. We've wanted or tried to incentivize that with an award. Obviously, that hasn't enticed the right people, but we continue to have faith that somebody will come forward with information or somebody knows, because just even a small tip or lead, and we continue to get them, will help solve, Liam's whereabouts. So.
I think just before we left, Kathleen, like we were saying goodbye because we were going back to where we were staying, and I gave you a hug and I said to you, "We're going to find him."
Mhm.
Really
We will. We will find Liam. I know we're going to find Liam. I believe through conversation, and conversation, I mean, not through the three of us, through conversation, through people and the awareness and the continued conversation of Liam, is how this is going to be solved. And what is the part where you say the hopeful is that we're reaching so many more people, and that was overwhelmingly said in this past weekend with the amount of volunteers and people and supporters and just showed us this past weekend, that how much. And so that's what gives us the support to say, yes, this is going to be, we're going to figure this puzzle out and help the police solve this. So that's probably what you're feeling in that comment. So yes, I truly believe, like I said before, it's the conversation that's going to solve this, and truly deep down know we're going to, we feel closer to it at this point is what you're feeling from our conversations.
Very well said. Well, I feel very hopeful for you guys. I mean, this is a good update to hear. I'm feeling encouraged just learning secondhand everything that you guys have been doing, and all the support and all the leads that are coming forward, and the new sort of horizons, especially on the digital front, which sounds really encouraging. So, well,
All
right.
thank you
Yeah,
all so much. It's good to
we'll
see
send
you.
photos on and reach out if something comes out or whatnot. But yeah, but thank you for
Amazing.
your support, guys.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Thanks, guys.
Well,
Thanks for jumping on with us.
absolutely, our thoughts continue to be with you, and let's stay in touch. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank
You
you.
again.
Bye.
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 Oh man, what a great update.
Yeah, that was really good. I feel pretty positively about everything that they said.
Yeah.
I
I
think
feel
it
like there
really.
was stuff that they weren't telling us. Like, like they
Oh, yeah.
not like they're holding back, but that they can't. But I feel like, that info about the new data, there's potentially a lot there with what they're saying,
Yeah, I'm sort of reading between the lines. I think that they learned about more leads than they're publicly able to discuss. It just felt that
Yeah.
way to me. And even what they were able to discuss seems really promising. I mean, especially the phone stuff and the digital forensics, sort of opening up into all these different areas that they can tap into, because the phone is the
Mm-hmm.
biggest thing in this whole story. As far as mysteries and what we want to know, there's just so much around that phone, and where it went, and why it was still on the next day. Why haven't we been able to locate it? That digging further there, or finding out that there's more to dig through there, is
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's why I asked what I asked about, what were the environments that we were seeing this new data from, right? Because I think, there's, did Liam walk off on his own and end up a victim of the elements, or was he with people, right? And I think you and I both tend to lean towards that he was with people. And
Mhm.
I think his family does too. But obviously where he ended up, you know,
That's the question.
yeah.
I mean, to hear that they're getting this help from the canine searches and all these people, like, this is what you need in a situation like this.
Hmm.
I'm feeling good about it. It's it's crazy, because what it was 2025 when Liam went missing. We're now in the middle of 2026. So I just feel like there's something there that's going to get turned up if this just continues to happen, if these searches keep happening and the digging keeps going on the digital end of things. It's not one of these 25-year-old cases where it feels like very difficult to imagine that this evidence is going to
Right.
lead somewhere new. This is the opposite of that to me. I'm feeling
Right.
good for this family.
Yeah, me too. Hopefully we hear another update soon. Well,
Yeah.
guys, let us know what you think. It's we all follow these cases, and so much of this world that we're in, and so many of these cases that we're in, I think it's about puzzles and trying to dissect an answer to something that we may never have an answer to. And it's rare when there's a case where you actually have real hope that there's going to be a solve, and I do feel like this is one of those. Especially it's so fresh still, hasn't been that long. There's this new data. His family is so motivated and so on top of it, and bringing in so many resources. So yeah. What do you guys think? You think we're going to see some answers? You think we're going to find out what happened to Liam? I know there's been lots of conversations about what we think may have happened to Liam, but if that's the case, and a lot of you did have opinions on that, then where do you think he is?
Absolutely. Well, leave it in the comments, guys. We love to hear what you're thinking on these. And, this is an interesting update with a lot of new doors potentially being open. So let us know what you think. And as usual, thank you for watching. And if you have the resources and you are moved by this story, don't forget about the GoFundMe. You can find the link to that in the description here. If you feel so moved to help with that, that would be awesome. Other than that, Miles, anything else for this week?
Nope, I think that's it. Just as always, guys, if you like what we're doing, please think about subscribing to the channel, share the video, at the very least, like the video, maybe hit the notifications bell. Everything you do helps us rise up in the algorithm and keeps these stories in front of people's eyes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, everybody. Well, until next time, see you in the comments.
Thanks, everybody.